for you to know that people are performing. How do you know that the employees are performing? What are the key indicators? Indicators. Okay? Then also look at differential age and other demographic patterns among specified categories and group of employees. Yeah. So again, you can also look at the organization and also try to understand in terms of the demographic characteristics. Yes. Usually you find that organizations want to balance out young ones, older ones, males, and gender sensitive. Right? But at the same time, we also want to have people that are in different age groups. Because there are certain times whereby elderly people, there are certain things that they know where the youngsters do not know. There are certain things that the young people know, the young generation know, and the elderly do not know. So the same also with an organization, we have to have a proper blend. Okay? Yes. You cannot have the whole organization only having old people that are working on sticks. Yeah? And then there's a problem with that. Yeah. Yeah, the organization may not be all that vibrant because there is no a proper mix in terms of demographic characteristics. So one of the demographics are either also male and female. That's why we see that organizations also want to balance out 50-50 to have also 50% of the males and also have 50% of the females. The reason is simply to have a proper mix in terms of the human resources. Again, we might have the plan, but we might have a factor there, a problem where we are looking at employee commitment and engagement. Yeah? So the plans might be there, but you find that the employees are not committed. Yeah? So it means the whole planning process is also going to flop, isn't it? Yeah? But also, planning is something that you cannot do alone. You need help from other departments, isn't it? As I said, that we're looking at that we have the right number of people and right qualifications at all levels. So are you as the human resource at all levels? No. It will depend on other people in those particular departments to also communicate to you to say, we are facing a shortfall in our department. So we're looking at the needs of each particular department. So it means that everyone in the organization has to collaborate. They have to be basically engaged to one another so that the human resource also understands in terms of the human resource needs in each particular department. Okay? So it might be the finance department. So you look at an institution like this, we may not only have one particular finance person there. Why? Because we have other people that are collecting fees, the revenue side, and we have someone who should also plan in terms of expenditure. So that's why you find in many organizations they have someone who is heading the data section, and you have someone who is heading also the creditors section. And sometimes you have these small things, the way you have accounts assistants who are handling issues of petty cash and all that for small issues in the organization. So this can be that as an organization you are planning your department to say, this is how well organized my department should be like. So that's why I'm saying that as a human resource, you may not basically see all this by yourself. It needs other people also to be committed and to be engaged in whatever we are also doing in terms of planning. Okay? Then number 4, we're looking at now the external environmental factors when designing the human resource. So now we're looking at how do the external factors also affect in terms of human resource plan. Yeah? Yeah. So the labor market, for instance. If there's a shortage in the labor market, what are we going to do? Yeah? So we're seeing a lot of Western countries advertising for people, especially in the UK. You might have heard about this, that they're facing a shortage in labor workforce. And they're looking at now other countries who can come and basically work. Yeah? Because they're looking at that in terms of the labor market, it's short. I mean, it's basically less. Okay? Which is quite the opposite here in Africa. Why? Because we have high unemployment rate. And because of that, it means the labor market is always there, it's always readily available. That's why it's not difficult for organizations to fire every day and find a replacement immediately. But in other countries, we find that maybe they have labor shortage. They fire you, you are going to have a hard time finding a replacement. Why? Because the labor is not readily available. So maybe in some countries people don't believe in self-employment. Yeah? There are of course certain areas even here in So labor is scarce to get in Gigi. Why? Because everyone else believes that, you know what, let me just go to the field, do my own farming. I'll be able to raise myself money. They don't believe in working. They believe in basically farming. Yeah. So that affects in terms of the availability of the labor market. Predictions concerning the future labor markets. Yeah. So what can we predict? Yeah. Any changes that we can see? Yes. We see the coming in of robots. Yeah. Who knows? In the next foreseeable future, the next walking in is not a human, but it will be a robot teaching people. It's possible. And with all this artificial intelligence, I mean, the machines are doing the work that's supposed to be done by a human. Yeah? So you've heard about the AI, you've heard about the ChatGPT, all those things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, machines, yeah? So we basically see the future that this is what basically is going to happen. You're going to meet the doctor, not be the human. It will be the what? The robot. Mm-hmm. We see that it's coming in slowly. Issues of globalization of labor market. How can we make sure that again, cross-border issues, we're able to also capitalize on them? Labor markets available on the global level or not. Then we also have the external variables, which are the pest factors. We have the political factors. How are they also affecting in terms of human resource planning? Yeah. So, for example, government comes in with a policy or comes in with a regulation to say that no one should employ children below the age of what? 18. That's a political thing. Yeah. You find that is also affecting even in terms of the human resource plan. You find that yes, employees are available, but now they are underage. Yeah? And you can't employ them. Why? Because the law suggests so that no, you can't employ someone who is what? Below the age of 18. Policy. Okay. What are the labor policies? Yeah, no, someone works is entitled to take 2 days off. Is entitled to leave. All these things can also affect even in terms of our human resource plan. We want the job to get done, but at the same time we have to also comply to certain what? Policies. Okay? And that's what we're looking at in terms of the political nature. Economical. Things are tough right now, economical. Someone will not want to come and work and say, oh no, I'm a maid, but you pay me 30,000. Yeah, I remember we discussed about this thing. You were saying about how much employees are getting in Zimbabwe. Yeah? These are issues that we're looking at. What is influencing it? The economical factors, isn't it? Yes. So people come to interviews, they find it wrong, but the expectation in terms of salary, this can affect also in terms of your plan. You want to recruit 10 people, but you're looking at now the salary now. And you're looking at and say, okay, but how many students do we have? Even if we recruit 10 lecturers and looking at what we're getting in terms of revenue, are we going to be able to pay all of 10 lecturers? So you find that the plan might be there, 110, but the resources are not what around paying. So you say no. But now, what am I talking about resources? I'm trying now to connect it with the issues concerning economics. Yeah, scarcity of resources. That's what we are looking at. Social issues. Again, you look at the labor market, you find that, the labor market is high amongst the bracket of the youth. Yeah? So it means that, okay, if you want to employ people, you find that it's readily available as the youth and not in the elderly. Yeah? Why? It's because of our demographics as a population of Malawi. We have more of the youth unlike the elderly. Yeah? And we have more and more people graduating. Yeah? And they're not older people, they're younger. And that affects even in terms of organizations to say that, okay, who now do we employ in this particular position? So sometimes you're forced to get the young ones, or even those maybe want mature people, but you're looking at the availability of the market to say, okay, but the ones that are available are basically the youth. Not only that, I also suggested to say, sometimes it also depends on the nature of the work, of the work itself. Yeah, you look at those people that are conducting surveys, research assistants, they don't usually take elderly people. people. They'll take youngsters, interns, yeah? They'll take those fresh graduates, yeah? Because they know that, okay, they are flexible in terms of movement and what have you, of which elderly people may not be able to do that. They are able to go maybe in rural areas and do their research there because they're looking at the nature of the job that needs to be undertaken. Okay, so that's on the social part. On the technological factors, again, you look at also the technical know-how. So as I said, you find that usually now the youth are the ones who understand more about the technology, unlike the BBC. Yeah, the born before computers. Yeah. So they are much conversant with the technology, unlike others. So these are all things that we, again, would affect in terms of our human resource plan. Yeah. Then we're also going to look at the implementation and monitoring processes to reinforce the HRP. So on there we're going to look at the general principles governing the structure and content of meaningful people, unexpected events and opportunities into the HR plan. So unexpected events, it means besides that we have a plan, but sometimes some things will change, which requires us also to modify our plan. Yes, that's why we're calling them an unexpected event, which are basically coming from the dynamics of the environment. Mechanisms for measuring and monitoring progress with the implementation of the HR plan. So we need also to put in place mechanisms and how are we going to measure in terms of whether our plans are being implemented as according to what we have designed as per our plan, or maybe there are deviations from the plan itself. So it means that we need to also have mechanisms and ways of measuring progress and also monitoring the progress in terms of our plan. The last part is basically the major approaches to people resourcing used by organizations in the modern world. We're looking at the high-level purpose for human resource plan, human resourcing, people resourcing via traditional methods, and continuous that may affect approaches to people resourcing. So people resourcing, we're simply looking at issues concerning recruitment. How are we going to resource in terms of the human capital? Okay. Yeah, so in terms of books, it will be very difficult for you to find a book titled Human Resource Planning. Yeah. So many of them you will find that it's just a section concerning human resource planning, maybe within the book titled Human Resource Management. As I said, that the management part includes the planning. So the human resource planning is also a section of part of the human resource planning. Okay. So basically, most books that you find will either be a specific section, but not all in a specific book titled human resource planning. Actually, even when you look at the prescribed textbooks there on the syllabus, you might have noticed already that all the books that are there are titled Human Resource Management. You see that, right? So which means it will be difficult for you to find a book titled Human Resource Planning. Okay, so I'm going to look at our notes so that we can briefly introduce this particular course, and we can see in terms of the content. Yeah, any questions so far? What we have talked about? There's none. We still have some time, so introduce. It's not connected, eh? It's not connected, is it? Is there a cable at the back?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So let's define our subject. Dive in what we are supposed to do. Let me just get the registry before I forget.
Amai akaita kushudhira izvezvi kundishaudha Kimberly ndadhilita nhamba dzake network kana kumuona. Ndoiyoyo ndochita kutopedzana Kimberly ngatitora picture handikuni kana kusendera zviwanza kana kutomuona usari nazvo ndikatokira ndakutuma kuti ndisendere ndakakutuma kuti ndisendere picture ravo zvanzi nemushina yakadhakwa nemushina yakatodhakwa iyoyo asi akusheka nekusheka memwana hasha ndikati chii chakadaro. Inangoti ndakabvunza nhama dzake Timbaland handiri miyedzo tati anomarika ndibatsirei handisi zvekunesana naye zvakuhanziranisana naye izvozvo handidi hangu zvekuve associated nemunhu akadaro ndiwasenda picture rako wega kuna kutuma wega wakundishauduka undishaudire hanzi itaenda pasana zvinotindotoda kuripota picture zvange ripota kana pastatus totobva tatoriply nemala emoji kuti tikadizvo baba ndiri muklasi lecture kwabuda saka ndikufonere
Before we forget these things. The phone is calling.
Yeah.
And of course, then you call back and then they want to go. What is that? You want to call? Yeah, so let's define what human resource planning is. It is the process of identification, or forecasting.
Or focusing.
Yes, stroke forecasting. A firm's future requirements.
A firm?
Yes, a firm's future requirements. And the number of people, in order to meet the organizational goals and objectives. In order to meet the organizational goals and objectives. So that's why I talked about the requirement and availability. So what we're saying is that we need to identify, or we need to forecast in terms of what are the future firm requirements. So how do you know the requirements in the future? That's why I talked about the strategy. What does the organization need in the foreseeable future? So that's what we're looking at, that we need to forecast. And we're saying that and the number of people in order to meet the organizational goals and objectives. So which means that if we don't have the right number of people and also the qualified people, it means that the organization will not be able to meet its goals and what? And objectives. So that's why we are looking at that. We need to forecast and we need to identify. Another definition suggests that human resource is a process. Human resource is a process by which an organization ensures that it has the right number right kind of people, at the right place, at the right time. At the right place, at the right time. Who are capable of effectively and efficiently completing tasks.
Efficiently completed that.
Yes. Efficiently completing tasks that will help the organization achieve its objectives. Completing tasks that will help the organization achieve its objectives. Too long to remember, but it just gives you an overview of what the subject is all about. Yeah? That what we are looking at is that to have the right number, right kind, so you're looking at specific characteristics. First, some specifications, qualification, age, denomination, skills, all those things that we see in a vacancy, which are titled as job specifications. Okay, what will determine that are we getting the right kind of people or not? But also we are saying that people should not also be misplaced. There are times where an organization may feel like it has a lot of people, but it seems like that is just because a lot of people have also been misplaced. People are not in the right place. So how do you know that someone is not in the right place? Depending on their area of specialization. Okay? So you are a human resource, but you are working in the finance department. You are just simply increasing the number in the finance department because this is not a specialty that you are going to be effective in. You are not going to be efficient in that particular department. Why? Because it's not your area of expertise. Okay? So again, we need to basically put people at the right place, but also as and when they are needed, and that's what we are looking at in terms of time. That's why I mentioned that now we have seen a lot of organizations resorting to contracts. The reason is because they only want to utilize those people at that particular time. Once that exercise is done, the contract ends there. Okay? So it's because they're only looking at those human resource needs at that particular point in time. And we are saying that they are capable of effectively and efficiently. So how thorough are you in order to accomplish the objectives? That defines effectiveness. Yes. Are you able to complete the objectives or to meet the objectives? That's what we mean by talking about effectiveness. Efficiency we're looking at in terms of speed. Can be doing one thing for 2 months, doing the same task over and over again. It means that as an employee there or the human resource, you are not efficient. But also being effective and efficient will help in order that the organization meets its objectives. That's what we're saying as the definition. What's the importance of HR? Important. Number one is that human resource comes at a cost and generates profit. Human resource comes at a cost and generates profit. So what we're saying is that besides that human resource comes at a cost, but what we're saying is that as an organization, it also helps it to generate profit. Because then who does the work? Human resources, isn't it? But of course, when you have excess, as we have said, it leads to unproductive costs. And the same shortages again will mean that again it will affect in terms of the ability of the organization to meet its objectives. But also you don't want to have excess where you have idle employees. Employees that are just coming to work but they're not doing anything. But at the end of the month, they need to be paid. So that's where we're looking at do we mean by this is that issues concerning requirements for human resource within the organization are never constant. They keep on changing. Why? Because some people are retiring, some people have been injured, they have to be at work, some have resigned, some of them their contracts have been terminated, all sorts of things happening in the organization, which means that as an organization, personnel requirements are never static. But also because the organization sometimes can undergo transition. They want to change systems of how they are doing things, processes. You find that the current employees that they have maybe may not be able to adapt effectively to those changes. So they will need people that are conversant with such kind of a system. Okay? So personnel requirements are never static in the organization. So these changes are taking over and again. Number three, again another importance is because of the changes in the business environment. So you have to understand that even as an organization, you fire someone today, it's not that immediately tomorrow you're going to find a replacement. So the issue is, in that particular period where you're still hunting for a replacement, it means as an organization you are being what? Affected. On average, you're talking about maybe 6 to 3 months for you to find someone to replace. Yeah? Because you're looking at, no, let's apply, let's shortlist, let's do interviews. These are all processes that are time consuming. Yeah? Unless you're doing shortcuts whereby you're just asking your friends, are you able to do this? No, then come tomorrow and start working. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, but if you're following the traditional way of the recruitment process, this is something that might be time consuming. But also you find that the right kind of people are not usually available on short notice. Yeah? It's difficult for you to do that. You still need some time. You find that even the employees, they are looking at, okay, if I leave here, what am I getting better where I'm going? So it's something that needs also time for someone to make a concrete decision. Yeah? So you might do the interviews, but at the end of the day, people are looking at also the future. Yeah? And they're looking at that, I might be losing my benefits, so therefore I cannot come and join. So there are all these factors that you need to take into consideration. And as much as you're also seeing, some organizations even go to the extent of re-advertising. It's funny, because you're looking at that we have hired employment. How is it possible that you have to also re-advertise? Yeah, because sometimes maybe you haven't got the right candidate, or maybe the ones that you got are demanding a lot. Now you're saying, okay, this read what? There's so many factors that come into play where organizations will end up re-advertising. But what I'm saying is because of the changes of the environment, and as I've said, maybe sometimes to get the right kind of people may not be possible in a very short period of time. Okay? So what are the aims of HRP? What are the aims? What does it aim at? Number one is attracting and retaining the number of people required.
Retaining what?
Yeah, attracting and retaining the number of people required with the appropriate skills, expertise, and competence.
The appropriate fee.
Appropriate skills, expertise, and competence. Yeah, so the first aim is that what we want to do is to attract but also retain the number of people that we require in the organization. Yeah? year. You can't just leave it like that. What we're saying is that we have to also undertake retention strategies. That's why we're saying that attracting and retaining. Number 2 is anticipating the problems of potential surplus or deficit of people. Yes, the problems of potential surplus or deficit of people.
Problems of potential
surplus or deficit of people. What we were talking about there, demand, high demand, low supply, shortfall and excess. So the main aim of human resource planning is also to anticipate this problem. That if we have surplus, what will be the problem? So as I said earlier on, it's going to increase in terms of our what? Labor costs. Yes? Salaries, benefits, MRA, taxes and all that. Benefits. Yeah? Simply human resource costs. But also, what are the problems of having a deficit? You find that the current employees will be overwhelmed with work. People will be suffering now from stress, work overload, People are having too many roles to undertake. And because of that, you find that as an organization also, we will not be able to meet also our objectives, is because the current employees are overwhelmed when it comes to the work that is assigned to them. But this can happen where, as I've said, is that we have a deficit. We have few people, and in terms of the supply, it is basically low. Number 3 is also to develop well-trained and flexible workforce. Why should we have well-trained? As the point that you have mentioned last time, so that they are able to undertake a number of roles. So we have seen the registrar, besides being the registrar, he also goes in class to what? To teach. Flexibility, right? Yeah. So if you're well-trained, it means you can undertake a number of roles. We have a dean, but at the same time, he also goes in class to teach. So it's because you are trained and you have the skills, so it means you are able to undertake a number of roles. But in scenarios whereby you're only specialized in one particular issue, then you find it difficult to balance up with other duties. Okay? So the main aim of human resource planning is also to develop well-trained and flexible workforce. Number 4 is also to reduce dependence on external recruitment. Recruitment. We would rather meet our needs from what? From within it. You find that some organizations rarely do that advertise that they need people. They'll just make sure that they utilize the ones that they already have. So that's why we talk about the issues of training and what have you. Ever notice even the banks how they operate? You go in the bank mountain, you find a lot of empty tills, but they're not employing people to fill in those empty tills. But you find that the same one, tomorrow is on the inquiries, another day is opening accounts, another day is on the till servicing customers. Flexibility. Rotation, They're able to undertake a number of work, a number of roles. And the last one and the last aim is to improve the utilization of people. So whether we like it or not, management talks about the use of people and other resources in order to meet their objectives. That's the definition of management. So whatever the case, we should know that as we are working, we are being used to the benefit of the what? Of the organization. So whatever the case, the organization has to find ways of how they can improve utilization. How can they maximize utilization? To use you, to milk you to the maximum. To the benefit of the what? Of the organization. So your skills are vital. Your experience is vital to the organization. So the organization will find ways of how they can simply utilize those particular skills, knowledge, and abilities that you have. So what are the pros and cons of human resource plan. Pros and cons. What are the advantages and disadvantages? What do you think are the advantages? What are the pros? Is this room cold or am I the one feeling cold?
It is cold.
It is, eh?
Yeah.
And you're simply wearing your vest.
I regret.
We will die though. What are the advantages of planning?
You'll be able to identify problems and focus on the future.
Okay. Yeah, sure. But also, as you have said, we can just simply say that it is argued that planning can help to reduce uncertainty. Yeah. So when you plan, you are reducing uncertainty. Yeah. Eventualities, things that will happen and then you didn't know that it is coming. But when you're planning, it means you'll be able to forecast. You should be able to foresee the problem before it has occurred. Yeah? So yes. Yeah. But also, we are looking at that planning will basically also contribute to organizational performance, isn't it?
Yes.
Because then you're going to know what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, and in the end of the day, we're going to find ways on how we can improve as an organization. What about the disadvantages?
Of planning. Things may change. Of course, you plan things, they turn out to be
So in other words, the disadvantage is the difficulty of predicting the future.
Yeah.
Why? Because of the dynamics of the environment, you find that it may be difficult to predict how the future will be like. No one foresaw COVID. We all thought that, this is a China thing, it will stay there. It's not ours. Yeah. But it ended up affecting global. But also with planning, there's lack of evidence that human resource planning is going to work. Yeah? You just plan blindly. You don't even know whether this plan is going to work out or not. Yeah? The answer only comes in after implementing. So there's no evidence that what you're doing is going to work out. Yeah, so it is a disadvantage because there's no proper evidence that the plan is going to work out. Yeah, lack of evidence. Okay, what are the approaches to human resource planning approaches?
The what?
Approaches to human resource planning. So there are three approaches. One is the demand forecasting. Two is the supply forecasting.
Demand, supply forecasting.
Yeah, demand forecasting and then supply forecasting. And the last one is an action plan.
Action plan.
Yes. So that's the approach. So that's why we've been talking about demand and supply. But either one of them, whether the demand is high or it is low, we have discussed. we have seen that it still calls for an action. Okay? As we have already said that, okay, if the demand is high and the supply is low, then we need to recruit. If the supply is high and the demand is low, then we have to basically downsize the organization. So whatever the case, issues of forecasting the demand and supply will still call for an action plan. Okay? So the action plan and the strategies that we are really talking about. Okay, since our board is full, I want you to draw this diagram. God, this one is going to kill us. We're done? Alright. Thank you. Next time we meet, we'll discuss about that. I hope the students are available for my next class. We'll just be waiting here.
It's for what?
Human resource management, BBA students, I think so. I don't know what it is for. Check my computer.